What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of Pop Topic on the FHN network. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and we've got lots to talk about today. We got a great guest coming on, but first I want you to follow at Pop Topic Show on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all of a sudden make sure that you're checking out the FHN network for all your entertainment needs. Tonight, Pop Topic, we welcome all the way from the USA, country music up-and-comer, Kaleb Austin. What's going on, kid?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you. I guess we were talking just off air quickly about my passion for country music, and I love, repping country music, especially here in new and upcoming guys. And I'm on TikTok, and all of a sudden this guy pops up, Kaleb Austin, and I got this great song called "Sound of the South," which made me click and follow you.
Right on, man. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like the song. It's been a fun one to see, out there and how people, react to it. So I'm glad you like it.
Well, listen, we're huge. I'm a huge fan, and I'm gonna be pumping it to all the guys I know and posting it everywhere.
Right
But
on.
we want to be free flowing today, and I got one basic question: where the heck are you living? Where it's Mountain Standard Time?
So I'm in Salt Lake. I'm in Utah.
Okay. What's the country music scene like in Utah? You don't hear too many guys coming out of there.
No, I mean, there's a lot of talented people here for sure. But it's not necessarily a big music hub or anything like that. With everything that's happened, in the last year, with the pandemic and everything, everybody kind of went online because we couldn't. All my live shows were canceled, and so we just. My wife actually started a TikTok. I didn't even know really what TikTok was, and then she started to just make these little videos, and from there it just sort of took off, and then I had written Sound of the South like 5 years ago, just after I was living in Nashville for a while, and I wrote that just after I moved back here, but so I was like, well, maybe I should go get Sound of the South recorded and see what happens, So our TikTok family, we did a lot of live streaming, and people were just helping us out, donating some money so that we could go and get Sound of the South done in Nashville, and so it kind of all just snowballed from there, man.
Well, I want to talk about your travels to Nashville and how you got the song recorded. But first, what kind of, like I said, Utah's not normally a country music area. So talk a bit about how you fell in love with country music and how you started making music.
Yeah. So, in my family, we love to hunt, we love to fish, really outdoors, anything, and so growing up, I was always exposed to country music a lot. Like that was pretty much almost all I listened to, that and some rock as well,
Mm-hmm.
But there was I remember a time I was really shy when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really sing in front of anybody or anything. And I always wanted to. I had a lot of family members that sang, and then I there was one time I was in the truck with my cousins, and they they told me, they're like, you're not getting out of the truck until you start to sing with us, And
Wow.
so from there, it just kind of, I was like, okay, so I had to sing, so it kind of like broke, like I wasn't so nervous anymore. And then from there, I took a couple of guitar lessons when I was like 14, and just started to learn every song that I could, And so I fell in love with songwriting and playing the guitar, and then it's performing live and everything. It just fell completely in love with music, and so that's kind of how I got started around here.
Do you remember your first live show?
Yeah. Well, so my first real show, like as paid an artist,
Hmm.
was actually with a band. Yeah, we played it at a bar. It was called The Outlaw, and it's up in Ogden. It's still there.
Great name.
Yeah. It was a cool bar. It was a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect. My first getting into it is kind of like a deer in the headlights. They were like, here, learn all these songs. And they only gave me, I had a couple of weeks to learn, like, I don't know, 40 songs or something like that.
Mhm.
So I tried to, they didn't have the tablets back then, where you could have the, tablature on there so you could help yourself out. So I tried to make this big binder filled with like all these sheets of music, and I was up on stage trying to fumble through my way. So it was kind of a disaster. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you learn, right? It's like stand-up comedy. You just kind of have to go with it and see what works, right?
Right. Yep.
What was your
Exactly.
what was the first cover you ever played?
First cover.
Yeah. And I'll make you a little bit more specific. What was the first cover you ever played and actually put out there for the world to see or hear? Sorry.
I think it was, what was that? It was with an old project that I was working with. I think it was a Maroon 5 song, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a song called Daylight by Maroon
Yep.
5. And we kind of obviously did them, country style and stuff. So it was with an old group that one of my very, very first, serious projects in music. And that one, I was lucky enough that my sister actually sang with me. So my sister's a really, really good singer, and she sings on a lot of my projects, backing vocals as well. So, but yeah, that one was called Daylight. And that group, it's on YouTube. If you look up Daylight by County Red, County Red. Yeah, was the old project. So yeah, it was kind of fun. And then from there I think we did a Blake Shelton one. We did a Philip Phillips one. We did Keith Urban one, and then I've done a bunch on my page, just sitting in my living room, but yeah. So
so back in 2014, you made your debut EP, Empty Bed of Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about how that album came together. And obviously it's a lot of pressure to put an album together. How'd you do it? How'd you finance it?
Totally. So I had to go get investors. I started a music company, a little label that we put together here. And so I had some investors that were involved. That we were super busy touring, and that's kind of how we wrote all the songs. And I wrote a lot of them with another band member at the time, and some friends I had just in Utah around here. And we were like, well, we need to put together, some music. So we got these investors involved, and were able to go down and record. And we recorded in a studio called Omni Studios, Omni Sound Studios, which was an awesome, really cool experience. Like a lot of big people record there, like on the regular. So we felt lucky.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But yeah, it was cool to put together, like an EP that is, it was my first like major piece of music, that I was able to put out there. So it was kind of fun. Yeah.
So you originally were in a small band, and then you decided to go solo. Is that kind of how it worked out?
Yeah. Yep. And it was, the decision was mostly made because I was wanting to go solo because the band and I were kind of having some different opinions on the direction that we wanted to take the music, and so I just decided, hey, I'm gonna try to do my own thing and write my own songs. And
were you talking about more genre, or were you talking about like the style of music, right? Like were they wanted to stay, you guys wanted to stay country, or was it a different type of country that you wanted to play?
Yeah, it was more of a different type of country. They were all, we all loved the same type of music, but they it was mostly a difference of like the songwriting, the original music, like how we were putting together those songs and how we were going about putting them out to the world and everything like that. It was from mostly a creative perspective on like the songwriting side of things, is where we saw the most difference. And so I just decided to move to Nashville for a while and really hone in on my songwriting skills, so that I could write, the songs, the type of songs that I wanted to write, and be able to paint a better picture in someone's head, and connect with somebody on a deeper level with songs. And so that's what I did when I moved there. I went under my own name, and I didn't have my band with me. So, and yeah, I just kind of stayed solo after that.
Well, one of the things that's always intrigued me about artists going to Nashville is you hear the stories, like you watch the Garth Brooks documentary on Netflix and kind of their struggle of going to Nashville. We've had a guest on before who also went to Nashville, was a Canadian from a Canadian music band. They actually had their song featured in a MMA match, which is kind of
cool. Wow.
Around UFC.
That is cool.
And so what I want to know is, tell me about that process. The decision to go, number one, the decision to go to Nashville. And the first week of experience.
Yeah. So the decision to go to Nashville was after I had toured a lot. We were touring regionally with the old group that I mentioned before. And when I decided that I wanted to go pursue a solo career and learn how to songwrite, I knew that the best songwriters lived in Nashville. So it was kind of a must have for me. And I fell in love with the town when I went and recorded there as well. So I was like, man, I've got to live here. There's so much going on all the time.
My wife and I only go to drink in Nashville, so I wouldn't know anything about that.
No, that's what I do too there. Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, there's always music playing, and just the buzz and the vibe of that town it makes you more creative, and so many people to collaborate with that make you a better artist, so it was really a fun and easy decision for me to go to Nashville. And I just had to, save up money for a while and tour as much as I could. And then, tell my friends
about that
family.
First week, you decide I'm going to Nashville, you get in a car or plane or whatever, you get there. What's that first week like? What are you trying to do to establish yourself?
And that, I mean, I was super lost. I didn't know anybody when I got there. I think I knew one guy that played for some people, like a guitarist, I didn't really know anybody in that town. I mean, so it was really difficult. I didn't really know how to get started. But what I ended up doing was just going out and going into everywhere that had live music and talking to their sound guy and saying, hey, how would I get booked here? And then there was an organization I was involved with when I moved there that kind of helped as well, called NSAI. Okay. It's the Nashville Songwriters Association. And their hub is in Nashville, obviously. And so they would host like weekly meetings that you could be a part of if you were a member. So I would go to that and meet and talk to as many people as I could as well. So between NSAI and just going out and talking with anybody I could, wherever there was live music, is kind of how I tried to get my foot in the door, down there. Did you buy or rent a place? Where were you kicking your feet up at night? Yeah, we were renting just a little apartment, about 25 minutes outside of downtown. Okay. But yeah, just in one of like the suburb areas of Nashville, we were renting a little apartment and just kind of, just going for it. And it was a good experience. I learned a lot. It was a solid experience. I definitely learned what I needed to learn living there for a little bit. So how long were you in Nashville? I was there for about a year. I moved back to Utah. I went through a divorce and my older kids moved back here, to Utah. So I always wanted to make sure that I could stay close to them and make sure that I could help them become the people that I want them to become, so I had to put music on the back burner for a little while and kind of reset and do some different things. So music took a little bit of a different turn there for a while. And then all of a sudden when TikTok came around and my wife started posting videos is kind of when it all just it was just the right timing, it was, I had to wait for the right time, I guess, to put out the next song. And so it was good. Nashville was an amazing experience to be there and learn what I did. And then, so did you have did you have a favorite bar to play at when you were in Nashville? I liked to always play. There was a place, it wasn't on the main, Broadway. It wasn't on, Correct. It was off on a street called Demonbrian. Did you ever go up there? I don't remember the street name, but I remember the only offbeat ones I remember was the Blues
the blues bar, which was absolutely amazing. That was BB. I think it was BB King's bar, and that was kind of. And then there was another one right off of not across from Tootsie's, the other bar. Those are the only two off streets we really got to hit.
Right on. Yeah. So this one is just kind of it's like a block away. It's more up near like Music Row.
Yes. Okay.
So it's called the Tin Roof.
I lied. We did go there. Yes, we did. My wife and I. Yeah, we found it. Yes, we did.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's where I used to play a lot. Is the Tin Roof. I did enjoy. I played in Tootsie's as well.
That would have been something.
Tootsie's is fun. Yeah. So those couple of bars were pretty much the ones where I played at the most. And I would try to get involved mostly with songwriter rounds. So that I would it wouldn't be so much of a cover band like you hear on Broadway. It's more showcasing, my original stuff. So that's where I would play as the Tin Roof a lot. That was my every Tuesday night is where I would go for their, called it the revival session and they still do it. So it's pretty cool.
That's great. So now all of a sudden you're back into music and you've discovered this beautiful app called Tic Tok. Your wife starts making these videos. I want to talk about your hit song, Sound of the South. So you said you wrote it 5 years ago. When did you actually put it out there for people?
So I played it for a few people here and there. And in my live shows with my band over the last few years, I've played it and have gotten a good response, so I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe when the time is right, someday I'll record this one, and so when everything, took off on TikTok, I was like, okay, I think it's time to put this one out. And, so, the first time, my wife was the first one to hear it. I remember I finished writing the song and she was at work and I sent her just a text of it. I was like, hey, what do you think of this song? And I remember her boss was like, man, I think this is going to make him famous someday. Like 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's a compliment, man. Like right on, but yeah, so it's come a long way since then. And it's been fun to see what's happened with the song, so.
So how does a song get picked up like that? Like when did you notice it was starting to get some traction?
Well, I kind of noticed.
It really just got released a short while ago. Yeah.
It came out like 10 days ago.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I already posted a picture of it. It was number one there for a while.
Yeah. So what we did is we played it as much as we possibly could for our TikTok followers to get their feedback. Because we go live all the time on TikTok. So we go live like 3 to 5 nights a week. And we'll play requests and raise money for the next project, things like that. So I played Sound of the South for them and people, basically just jumped right on board. Like one guy got a tattoo of it on his arm, like I was like,
I hope you paid for it.
Yeah, no.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I know
it is. So, people just went kind of crazy for it. And I'm like, well, this is definitely something I should record. So it kind of took off from there. And then we did a pre-order phase on iTunes, which helped gain traction for that first week of release so that we could, get a buzz going around the song before it was actually released. So that's kind of what we did to make it go as far as it did, and top the charts, which was, dude, I was floored with how well it did,
It's amazing. And this is the same week that Morgan Whalen threw out a 30-song album.
I know, dude. Like, right? When he did that, I was like, oh, great. I'm like, I would have felt lucky, being in any chart position with that album out. It's probably, and it's every song on his album is good. He's an amazing artist. So it was a huge accomplishment to chart where we did.
And listen, he came out of nowhere too. That's the crazy part about this guy. And Morgan Whalen is an excellent artist, but he doesn't look like your typical, I don't want to call it heartthrob country artist, right?
No,
he's got the mullet, but he's got a fantastic voice. And I do love his music, right? So now all of a sudden you've got this hit and you've on TikTok, and all of a sudden you're looking up and like, I'm number one. Yeah. Not this guy.
Yeah,
Like
no, it was.
that's gotta be insane. And I saw your TikTok, and you're obviously really emotional about it, which I believe is genuine.
No, yeah, no, it was a lot to take in. Like when I saw that position, I was like, yeah, I mean, I just cried, dude. I was just like,
You should have cried.
yeah, I mean, it was just a flood of emotion. We've been working, really, really hard at the song, and knew it was good, and knew we had a chance at charting. We didn't have I mean, I couldn't have expected anything better. It was just a huge relief and excitement, and just feeling super grateful for everybody that got behind the song and made it go where it is. So
Well, I don't know if you've been on Billboard lately, but I'm looking at it right now because I wanted to confirm it because I'd seen it on iTunes, but it's still number 3 on Billboard's digital song sales.
is it really? Wow.
It's number 3 right now, right underneath. Yeah, exactly. I hope I'm making your day. No big deal.
That's cool.
Yeah, like you're still number 3, which is crazy. And
Yeah.
number 1 right now is the there's Tim McGraw. He's
Yep.
pretty. Yeah, he's a nobody. And then
Right.
Morgan Whalen, who's also a nobody. And then there's Kaleb Austin.
Right.
Like that's unbelievable to me, and it's such a unique journey how you got there, and a lot of it had to do with the social media platform.
Oh yeah, totally. And that's awesome, dude. Like to have my name featured with those guys, like those are guys that I respect and I've listened to for a long time. And I mean, especially Tim McGraw, I grew up listening to his stuff, so.
Yeah, I'd be clipping those. I'd be taking screenshots of that. I'd be posting those everywhere. So what?
Oh, definitely.
So now the song's a bit of a hit, but we got you've got you got a little bit of ways to go before it becomes what I would say nationally known. I guess
sure.
what's the next steps to kind of get the song out there?
So really we're trying to get the song to be played on radio now. So like XM radio, the highway, we're trying to get it up on there, and then any other major radio that would be willing to spin the song would help it so that we can get more traction and streams on Spotify, different things like that.
Well, I'm going to give you some inside information. Look at Canadian radio stations. And don't forget about us up here. We're big country fans. You got 96.7, 106.7. This is in my area at Kitchener, Waterloo. Don't forget about Canada, where there's an opportunity up here for you. And
definitely,
I'd be reaching out to the radio stations, at least in the southern part of Ontario, and especially Calgary, where they host the Calgary Stampede.
Okay, yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate that. I will definitely do that for sure.
Yeah, and and obviously, so now you've got over 100,000 viewers on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So how'd you get all of a sudden, like where did that number come from? Was it just because you kept producing content all the time and the followers just kept rising?
Pretty much. Well, so it was a combination of that. Yeah, you have to post TikTok. The more you post, typically the better your chances are of getting followers and traction on there. But the biggest thing is since my wife actually started her page first, that's kind of where we gained traction. So every time we would do a video on her page, she would just tag me in the description, and then people would go and follow my page from that. And I've had some good videos on my page as well. So it's kind of a combination of both. But we do the same types of videos on my wife's page as well.
Is your wife in the music business at all?
No, she's just become like the world's best promoter, man.
Hey, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, she honestly, she is the reason. If I had to put one reason on Sound of the South going to number one, it's my wife. She was blasting
promotions. It's hard, especially someone you know.
Oh yeah.
And I see your wife's name's Cheyenne because you're using your phone. Yeah, she wouldn't let you use yours. I see. It's all right. Didn't have the same data package.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I just barely got a new phone, so she's in the other room setting it up. I was like, I got to use your phone, babe.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you can get that international connection, we got some great country radio up here and country music DJs who would love to spin. That's a great song, man. Like if I was still playing, I would have been jamming that every night for sure because it's a banger.
Thank you, man. Yeah, dude. My producer Dan Frizzell produced the song for me, and he did. Just a crazy good job. I couldn't have asked for anything more. I kind of gave him the idea of what I wanted, he took it and ran with it, and he had world-class players play on it, and it was just kind of one of those things where it was a perfect timing thing. I had the song, I found a great producer, we had the following on TikTok. It took a lot of work, along the way, but it was just kind of, we got lucky with a few areas as well, and so we're stoked, dude. I can't wait to see where it goes. And
yeah, to be successful, you got to be a bit lucky, right? So now, are you going to continue this independently, or are you hoping to maybe sign to a major label one day?
I think a major label deal would be beneficial at some point, especially to get exposure on mainstream radio. That's kind of the big thing that they can do. But for now, I think staying independent is important for now, just so I can really grow my fan base and grow as an artist, and really put out music that is not directed by any sort of label. So I can just write the songs that I want to write and put those out, and it's an amazing thing what social media has done for my music. And so I think we're just going to keep going with that for a while until we get, the right offer from a major label would be awesome. But, it just kind of, I guess, depends on what the offer is and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, eventually it would be cool,
So you've written Sound of the South. What's next? Because you've got one hit and obviously it's still got a ways to go, but
right.
What's next? Do you have anything in the back burner that's coming out soon?
Yeah. I'm actually going back to Nashville the first week of March.
Awesome. Good.
And we're going to cut another song. And that one's called Sun Goes Down. And I play it for our live viewers when we go live. Matter of fact, tonight we'll be going live tonight.
What time tonight? So, Mountain time.
Mountain time, we start at 8.
8 o'clock. So for everybody that's in Canada that's watching this, 10 o'clock on the east from Ontario, 10 o'clock, 2 hours behind his Mountain time.
Yep, exactly. So, we go live typically Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and from 8 to whenever. And basically what we do is my wife and I are both in it, and she'll read the comments and we'll take requests, and I'll sing literally any song in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what, so I'll learn it on the fly if I have to.
The thing is, if I was the only guy on there, you'd be playing for like 4 hours because I'd just be banging them off the top of my head, no problem, no question. I got plenty of songs I want to hear.
But yeah, dude.
Do you play anything from 1950?
1950, dude. People try and stump me, man. They're like, "Hey, sing this." Like I've sang in Spanish many times. And I don't speak Spanish
you speak
at
Spanish?
all.
Okay, there you go. Beat me to it.
So I mean, they try and stump me. I've had to do like rap and hip hop and Britney Spears to Shania Twain to, all kinds of different, all over the map, But
that's fun. You probably pull up the lyrics on your Google phone just to make sure I got everything. I know what the lyrics are.
Oh yeah.
Are you one of those guys that can remember? Can you remember songs pretty well?
Yeah, pretty well. I still. For everything that we do, I play probably at least 100 to 150 different songs a night.
Nice.
So, I definitely use,
Oh, of course.
I've got my desktop right next to me so I can just look up the lyrics real quick. But yeah, I've always been able to memorize songs pretty quick and easy, if I play them a few times or whatever. But yeah, but it's fun because I get to play songs that I typically wouldn't, that people just love out there. And I get to discover a lot of new music as well that way, because of everybody is listening to all kinds of different genres and different things. And so I get to be exposed to a lot of good music that I never would have found on my own. So
that's awesome. What's your favorite cover song to play?
My favorite cover song to play. One of them, honestly, is one by. Do you guys know who Tyler Childers is? Have you ever heard of Tyler Childers?
Not many people do, but I. And it's also like Christian Kane.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who Christian Kane is.
I've heard the name. I don't think I've heard.
Right. So Tyler Childers kind of falls into that category of guys that some people will know who that is, but some don't. I know who Tyler Childers is.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So he has a song. It's called White House Road that I've I've really enjoyed playing. So yeah, I mean, that's probably one of my favorite covers that I've done recently. And then I always love to do 90s country is one of the big things for me. I grew up in that era. And
Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, Ricochet, one hit wonders, but still can nail it.
right, exactly, yeah, and like Black Hawk, Shenandoah, all those.
It's funny. So a little quick story here. We only got a few minutes left, but quick story. When I actually lived in Seattle, and when I was in Seattle, I got a small gig DJing at a country bar, and they were asking me about all these guys, and I had no idea who they were because in Toronto, I'd never heard of them. And there were a couple guys you may have heard of now: Eli Young Band, Brantley Gilbert. Zero idea who these guys are.
Oh wow!
Didn't know how good. Well, that I had no idea, right? So so all of a sudden you're mentioning names like that, and I'm like, I have no idea who this guy is talking about. You're right, because maybe it was in the South, or maybe it just didn't get popular up here, and was just something that I never heard.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, man. What bar was it?
In Seattle? Oh yeah. God, I can't even remember the name of it. It was a small bar in Tacoma. And it was a fantastic bar to DJ at. To this day I probably couldn't even tell you. I think it was Whiskey something. Whiskey Barrel or Whiskey Rum or something like that. Had a great atmosphere. They always wanted a line dance, but they always requested. And my favorite line, and I still remember this day, was, "Don't you have any Texas country?" I was like, what the hell are you talking about, lady? I was like, what?
Totally, dude. I hear that same thing. Yeah, people are like,
they've got to have like 9 or 10 artists down there that are popular in just Texas. But yeah, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. But listen, I wish you all the success in the world. I love the song. You're a great guy, and I really appreciate you jumping on to the show. But like I said, if I'm going to give you any advice, get it up the Canadian radio up here. Email some of the stations in Ontario and Calgary, and see what happens.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you having me on, and for everything, dude. Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Let me know if I can tonight, and I'm going to be bothering the hell out of you by requesting songs. So I hope you're got longer than 2 hours. But I'd like to thank our guest Kaleb Austin for joining us today on Pop Topic. You can hear all of Kaleb's music on iTunes. You can check out his YouTube. Go to the website KalebAustinMusic.com, and of course, got to add on to his over 100,000 followers on TikTok at Kaleb Austin Music. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Again, thanks to my producer, Maddie Huddle, for taking care of me behind the scenes. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and tune in each and every week. New episodes, guests, conversation. Follow at Pop Topic Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I only have 4 videos up there, but there will be more to come, I promise you. This is Pop Topic, and we will be back.